This is from Justin to Kane, a podcast where Mike Robertson and Bob LaRue watch one critically acclaimed film and one terrible film and talk about how they are the same.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of From Justin to Kane, a podcast with me, Mike, and here's Bob.
Hello, everyone.
And we're just making another episode of this podcast again. Here it is right now. Recording.
Wow, that was really good. Holy shit.
Just Mike. A killer intro.
You're a really good host. Oh my God. That was so good.
I went to podcasting.
Bro, I'm so good at podcasting.
So, so the movies we're talking about this week are Minari from 2020, yes. Award sensation Minari, and a very obscure,
insane, it's easily accessible.
Yeah, I guess easily accessible for the time being. Movie called The Milky Life or La Vida Lactea.
Mm-hmm.
What country is this movie from?
Spain.
It's from Spain. And it came out in 1993.
1992.
1992.
Yeah. It was shot in Portugal, but it's like a Spanish production. I don't know. Nothing makes sense. Watching this movie, the subtitle company took up half the screen.
Yeah. They just put
with a black box.
Black box with text on it, so you couldn't see half of the picture.
It was insane. It was already a tiny image.
Let's just get into talking about the Milky Life a little bit because it's nobody's heard of this movie. I only heard about it the day before we decided to do a podcast.
How did you? Who told you again?
I don't remember. Somebody on Twitter was just talking about it. Just like, hey, have you heard of this insane movie?
How did they hear about it? This film it feels like a secret.
It does feel like a secret.
It almost doesn't exist on the internet. There's no Wikipedia page for the Milky Life, which I feel like is so rare.
But it's right up our alley about the type of movies we cover when we talk about bad movies on this podcast.
Oh yeah.
And
this one takes the cake.
It's almost kind of like the best of the worst. Like it's kind of I don't remember what I texted you something when I was watching it. I was like, this movie broke me or something like that.
Yeah. Well, you've hit a new low.
Oh, I hit a new low cinema wise.
No, let me just find it because it's really funny. Yes, probably a new low in terms of cinema for me.
Yeah. It was.
You also said that movie fucked me up.
It did.
He sent me a screenshot of him in bed with his lover, but he's a baby. And the subtitle says, I'm an old man, ellipses, trying to be a baby, period. His lover says, uh-huh.
Yeah.
So sweet Jesus
we never
Christ.
really explained what the movie was. So it's called The Milky Life. It's about a eccentric billionaire played by Mickey Rooney, none other than Mickey Rooney, kind of nearing the end of his career and life. And he's like an old, bald prune of a man. And he's playing a billionaire who wants to become a baby. He's inspired by his grandchild who kind of lives a carefree life. And he realizes he has so many stresses as a billionaire, which, I mean, insane kind of perspective to have, I guess. But
it was the early 90s, Mike, you know?
We were more sympathetic to billionaires back then, I guess. They were
much.
They were just such a unique thing. There wasn't a heck of a lot of billionaires, I guess. So it was easy to just kind of like imagine the weird world that they live in. And it was like, I could never be a billionaire.
Rich people have problems too.
I mean,
Mike.
That's what I've been told.
I don't know that for a fact. But it's probably true.
Yeah. So anyway, this movie is absolutely insane. So it's Mickey Rooney running around in a diaper, acting like a baby. Playing with toys, presumably, crapping himself.
Yep.
And actually breastfeeding on film.
I'm surprised they went there.
Yeah.
I was like, this is softcore pornography.
Yeah.
Just sort of how, you could show breastfeeding and be like, whatever, but because he's a man in his probably early 70s at this point, early 70s breastfeeding from a woman, it just felt pornographic. And they were both naked also.
Yeah.
And then they also bone. So
right.
Very, very horny. It was like a real pervert's wet dream, this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
And it also was made in, like, the intention was an art film. I guarantee it. I don't know that, but just from watching it, I was like, oh, they were trying to make an art film, and they totally shit the bed.
Well, somebody had an interesting take on it on Letterboxd. They said it's kind of like it kind of felt like a magical realism telenovela.
What does that mean?
Well, like a Spanish drama, it's like Spanish soap opera. Because there's like a lot of backstabbing, a lot of familial backstabbing and stuff. But then there's also
it's
like
very
this kind of
soapy. Yeah.
Yeah, but then there's also this kind of magical realism thing where, I mean, we're entering spoiler territory, I guess.
Spoiler alert.
He starts becoming a baby just because he believes he's a baby.
Well, yeah. Well, no, he gets hit in the head. It's him getting hit in the head that makes him actually like start to become a baby.
Oh, right.
He speaks English. He's an adult doing all this shit. And then he gets hit in the head when his house gets robbed. And then when he wakes up, he can only talk to his grandson in baby gibberish.
Yeah.
Which is like, this film really walked the line of clown. Yeah. And I was very much triggered by it. I was like, I bet you they were saying play on set all the time.
Yeah,
Mickey Rooney's like, it's so fun to play. Like, it's just like, I haven't been able to play like this. TV just doesn't let you play the way I want to play, so I want to play in this movie. That's a quote from Mickey Rooney.
Yeah, he got into it a little too much.
So I couldn't find any sort of interview with him explaining this film and why he did it and what his experience was like.
Yeah.
But my guess is it's two things. He did it for the money and didn't give a shit, or he was straight up having a ball.
Yeah. Well, he must have been a celebrity in Spain enough that they were like, we got Mickey Rooney. Oh my God. And you know, for him, he was slumming.
It's like, I was never bored watching the film, but when it was over, I felt really like gross. And I had to sit in silence for quite a long time, you know, just contemplating what I had endured. An hour and 17 minutes.
So did you watch it at double speed?
No, I watched it at real time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I watched it at 1.5 speed, and even that felt a bit slow in parts.
Right. No, I was not bored. I thought it was a very like sort of it was attempting to be poetic, you know. Like the film has similar pacing to Minari. I guess I'm gonna knock out a similarity right now. They're both very contemplative films.
Yeah, that's good.
There's a lot of just like thinking and stoicism and like a lack of communication and people just sort of on their personal journey but fucking over their family. You know? Like that's just sort of true in both films. And there's like long scenes of just like silent thought.
Yeah, okay, I'll agree with that. There's like a languid pacing to both films.
Yeah, that's a better word, languid. I like that word. Another similarity is there's like sort of an old person that wreaks havoc.
Yes.
In both films. So that like I was like, wow, these films actually are quite similar. And they're family dramas, both of them.
They're family dramas.
They're the same genre.
They're exploring the perspective of a child as well.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because, I can get into some of the info about Minari. I did a little reading on it.
Well, you know what? Let's go back and forth. That'd be fun.
What do you
Instead of one-on-one, let's you'll talk about Minari a little bit, and maybe I'll interrupt you because I'm an asshole, and I'll talk about the Milky Life, a.k.a. La Vida Lactea.
Would you insist on calling it La Vida Lactea?
I do. It's more fun to say. And it's almost La Vida Lactea, but not quite.
Yeah. The Milky Life. Totally insane.
I'm surprised he never said baby want milky. That was never written.
No, but the first thing he did when he met his kind of wet nurse or whatever she was, like
she's a wet nurse, but she's a prostitute.
Yeah.
And he hires her as a wet nurse.
Yeah, so the first thing he does is ask to see the breasts. And then
so
that's like the first thing. Really so quick. It's very clear that that's a big part of this, you know, for that character, I guess.
Well, it's important to him that the breasts are motherly, nurturing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's also very disturbing. She's like, oh, I lost my child. I'm lactating, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's grim. They brushed right over that. Went to straight adult man breastfeeding.
Well, it's so strange that he's like, I don't like how my family treats me. I want to live a carefree life like a baby.
Yeah.
And he could have, done a few of the things that a baby does, but doesn't have to do all of them. Like, he doesn't have to breastfeed as an old man, but of course he's like an old perv.
Yeah, like I think it's undeniable he's a pervert.
Yes.
And that's really what the plot is about. They articulate it. They try to sort of use smoke and mirrors to be like, he's not a pervert. He's just going through this change or whatever. But he is a pervert.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No perverts in Minari, though.
We don't know that.
Except for maybe that neighbor who every Sunday wears the cross and walks down the road. That guy has perv energy.
I bet something's going on, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about Minari a little bit.
Okay, so Minari, I mean, this was a big movie last year during award season.
Mm-hmm.
It premiered at Sundance in 2020, and it won the Grand Jury Prize and the U.S. Dramatic Audience Award. And they were filming it and just editing it at the same time because they were trying to get it submitted for Sundance. So they were filming it like in summer of 2019, trying to get it ready for Sundance. So it was a very tight turnaround, I guess.
Man, a lot of movies do that. It's very funny. They don't just wait the year and make a really good film. I mean, they made a good film, but it's pretty classic. A lot of sort of indie dramas or whatever will edit and shoot at the same time for the deadline of Sundance.
Well, it's also, I guess it's like Christmas movies too. They'll be filming a Hallmark Christmas movie or, whatever.
In October.
And then we got to get this ready for December.
Yeah.
I mean, Christmas movies are coming out already. There's one of them on Netflix right now that's like Love Hard, I think.
That's right. Shot by Shane Hurlbut.
Who's that?
He's a cinematographer. He shot he shot Terminator Genesis.
Oh, okay.
The one with Christian Bale.
Yeah.
And also our dear friend Brett was the camera operator on it.
That's right, yeah. I knew that.
Yeah. I'm going to watch it. It looks okay.
It looks okay. Literally none of the jokes in the trailer landed.
Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like it's all just a bunch of jokes that feel funny, like when someone says, "So that happened." After something happens, that's kind of just unbelievable.
Isn't it an achievement to try to make a comedy and none of the jokes land? Like, that's almost hard, I feel like.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Wow. Hot take, Mike. I like it.
I think it's very easy to make a comedy that's not funny. I think it's actually hard to make a comedy that is funny.
Well, no, absolutely. Making a comedy is very difficult, but to have 100% of your jokes miss, that's an achievement.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah,
like not even one joke. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Yeah. None of the trailer jokes made me laugh. In fact, I was kind of just annoyed by how everybody delivered the kind of corny lines.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about a random trailer on Netflix, which will.
Oh yeah, we are. I'm cracking another can.
A can of what?
Fizzy water with lime taste. Yeah, from President's Choice.
Okay, so you've downgraded from bubbly to President's Choice.
Listen, my budget's out of whack. Yeah,
okay.
I've downgraded. Yeah, bubbly's overrated. These are good. They're not as harsh. You know what I mean? And they're cheaper. Bubbly's expensive.
For our non-Canadian listeners, bubbly. No, wait. Yeah, is Bubbly a Canadian company?
I don't know.
Okay, but President's Choice is like the store brand for like a Canadian grocery store called Real Canadian Superstore.
That's right. Also, no frills.
Also, no frills. Also, Loblaws.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Loblaws.
And
anyways, okay.
And also Shoppers Drug Mart. They are all owned by the same company now.
That's right.
There's a little bit of Canadian corporate history for you, I guess.
Wow.
Exciting stuff. So
what a service we're providing.
Oh, I know. That was Corporate Corner, I guess, where we just talk about
Corporate
stores.
Corner, yeah. Bunch of corporate canines out there loving this material.
Yeah, they love it. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so Minari. So the director, Lee Isaac Chung, he made a movie about his upbringing in America. It is a film about a family of South Korean immigrants who basically try and follow the American dream in the rural United States during the 80s. So it's a film about the American dream, which is funny because it was controversially won the best foreign language film at the Golden Globes last year.
Oh, weird.
But the Hollywood Foreign Press is like, well, your movie's got 50% or more non-English speaking in it, so therefore it is considered a foreign language film. But it is a movie about, the American dream made in America by Americans.
Yeah, like it's an American production.
Yeah. So there's just kind of it kind of caused a bit of a stink because just the Hollywood elite's definition of what constitutes something as being foreign. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's like non-English, non-white,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
kind of good that kind of conversation happened.
Yeah. And hopefully that'll spark a change because it is that's silly.
It also got nominated for 6 Oscars: Best Picture, Director, Score, Original Screenplay, and Best Actor for Stephen Yeun, and Best Supporting Actress for the Grandma.
The Grandma was awesome.
Yeah, Yoon Jung is her name.
She was amazing.
Yeah, she was good. She's like a huge celebrity in Korea.
Oh, cool.
And nobody really knows who she is in America. And so she won an Oscar for acting. Yeah, she's like, I have to prove my acting skills to a whole new market. And then she like, on her first go, just kind of blew it out of the water, I guess. So
she could just like stop working now. She's good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's kind of like, I don't know what the Meryl Streep, I guess, of Korea.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Also, both films are technically foreign language films.
Technically, I guess they are foreign language films.
Yeah. And both use subtitles when you watch it in Canada and don't speak that respective language.
That's
another
right.
similarity.
Well, also,
similar viewing experience for us.
Also a big star from another country making a movie in
not their country.
Not their country, yeah.
Yeah. See, these films are the same.
They're identical films, yeah.
The same damn film.
Yoon Jung was also the first Korean to win an Academy Award for acting. So,
oh wow,
Koreans had a good 2 years, I guess, at the Oscars the last 2 years.
Wow.
With Parasite and Minari. One thing that I was trying to figure out when I was watching The Milky Life, La Vida Lactea, was Mickey Rooney speaking Spanish, or was he speaking English and then they just dubbed it?
I think he was speaking English and they just dubbed him with someone else's voice.
Yeah.
That's because I don't think he speaks Spanish.
No. Yeah,
so that was kind of wild. It's like, well, there's a huge tradition in Spanish filmmaking back then to just shoot everything without sound.
Yeah.
And dub the entire film later. That's like a classic thing to do with Spanish films. So that's probably what they did. That's my guess.
That's a lot of movies. Like, Italian movies did that too.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I was watching a Dario Argento movie, and it was basically, that was the situation.
Yeah, it's cool. It's kind of crazy that like the shooting would be so chill. Like the performance is like less important and all this shit because it's like, well, the sound's coming later. Who cares? You know?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
It's crazy. I mean, the shoot days are really quick.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to worry about airplanes.
You're not waiting for sound. All the sound people out there, you know what that means.
Yeah, you know what that means.
You've heard that before. Oh, waiting on sound. Oh, I got to lav mic this person. The battery just died.
However,
blah, you know.
I mean, I was watching that Dario Argento movie. I was watching Deep Red.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a scene in it where you can see the boom mic.
Oh, like, I love
the shadow of the boom mic. And so it's like they ruined that shot for no reason, considering that they didn't even use that sound.
Well, as you know, guide track. You got to get that sweet, succulent guide track.
Why do you say it like
silly.
that?
I don't know, man. I'm just a weirdo.
That's why you love the Milky Life so much.
I love the Milky Life.
You're living the Milky Life every day.
Man, I was salivating the whole time. I was like, why am I salivating? Do I want the Milky Life?
I mean, we all want the Milky Life.
I want La Vida Lactea.
So, back to Minari again.
Yeah.
Are you not going to throw in random? You said you were going to throw in random Milky Life facts.
Well, yeah. Well, I did some similarities. I was hoping some, I don't know, man. It'll come. It'll happen.
Okay.
Let's talk about Minari a little more because frankly, I'm more interested in Minari.
So Lee Isaac Chung was actually considering just quitting filmmaking for good.
Why?
just because he got offered a instructor position at a campus in Korea for the University of Utah, where he went to film school. So they're like, you want to be a film studies professor? So he went there and he was teaching for a while and was just going to like give up and just like, I guess I'm just a teacher now. But he also just had the idea to write the screenplay. So he just kind of did it on a larf and somehow got it into the hands of Hollywood bigwigs at A24 and Brad Pitt and
Plan B.
Yeah, Plan B. So pretty sweet for him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, like, scripts are more of a meritocracy than anything else in the film industry. Like a good script will like end up on lists, like you don't have to be famous to have your script kind of make its own way. And then you end up on like the blacklist or whatever of like best scripts never made. And a screenplay can like garner its own notoriety and lead to a production.
There was a couple of years where I would download the blacklist every year and read a couple of them.
Yeah.
Rarely did I read something I thought was good.
Well, also screenplays are inherently bad.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm like a big
reading.
Film buff guy who is like, you got to impress me. I'm really good at film or whatever. No, it's just I don't know. I just read a bunch of them and was they all were kind of meh.
Yeah.
So then most scripts must suck so hard.
Oh, yes, big time. But I bet you read Minari and you're like, there's nothing special here. It's like the production and how they tackle it that sort of makes the magic. It's not in the script, but I think producers can see the script or whatever and be like, oh, this has a lot of potential if the right person makes it.
Yeah, this I bet this script was probably pretty good. Enough that Brad Pitt was like, oh, I got to make this movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lee Isaac Chung, when he was writing when he was writing it in 2018, he wrote it in English, and then they translated the Korean lines to Korean later.
Cool.
Which it makes, I guess, the whole controversy about foreign language film stupid. Extra stupid, I guess.
Well, I would wager that Mickey Rooney's lines were written in English, and he said them in English, and then they were like, fuck it, we'll translate it later in ADR, baby.
Also, when they were making the movie, fun little story, the woman who plays Monica Han Yi-ri, she shared an Airbnb with Yoon Ye-jung, the old lady. So they were just kind of like living together when they were making the movie and when they weren't.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, probably helped them actually with the vibes of someone living with their mother.
That's some classic indie movie shit to be like, hey, we got this Airbnb and 3 of you have to share it.
Well, also,
that's classic.
Because she's like the Meryl Streep of Korea.
Yeah.
And then they're just living in a small little Airbnb together.
I wonder if they left big stinkers in the bathroom for each other,
Yeah.
You're sharing the
grandma doing
Airbnb, and it's like, oh, I clogged the toilet. I'm really sorry. Like, we got to move.
That's something we never think about. Celebrities clog the toilets too.
Oh yeah, big time. Brad Pitt, I'm sure he's had to make that phone call to the concierge. Listen, I clogged the toilet.
Yeah.
Can somebody? It's looking like street trash in here. Can somebody deal with it, please? Do you like that street trash reference?
I do like the street trash reference.
Toilet scene when that guy melts into a toilet.
Yeah, you didn't like that.
I hated it.
Yes.
But whatever.
So Yoon Ye-jung also previously had tried to make a go at it in the United States. She lived in LA for a while, and she tried to cross over, I guess, at one point, and it didn't really work out for her necessarily. So, but she used her experiences in her performance of living in America and as a person, as an immigrant, I guess. Instead of basing her performance on stories about Lee Isaac Chung's grandma, she just kind of took it in her own direction, based it on her own experience as a person in a foreign country.
Cool.
And also, her character is so weird.
Super weird and fun.
Yeah.
Like very just like, ugh. Like what? This is some crazy choices.
Yeah. The movie cost $2 million to make.
Wow.
Made $15 million.
That's great.
According to Wikipedia.
Yeah. AKA, it didn't make anything, really. It just kind of like made its money back. It's very expensive to do the, There's so much money that goes into like the award campaign, posters, publicity, submitting to festivals is very expensive, all this shit. So, yeah. I'm sure the investors got their money back and then they were like, yep, sweet. Broke even.
It's such a crooked industry,
It is. Well, like indie filmmaking is built to be lost money, right? Like they fold the company as soon as the production wraps so that they don't have to pay the tax.
Yeah.
And then they end up like losing money, and that's like planned for.
Yeah.
It's very strange. Very, very strange.
So Steven Yeun, who plays the dad, he is married to Lee Isaac Chung's cousin.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Small world.
It was an easy, he was an easy get because he was basically family.
Cool. Because he's a heavy hitter. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
And like quite famous.
Yeah. And he's famous in the US and Korea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Less so probably in Korea though, but yeah, crazy. Also kind of makes sense. Sometimes these indie movies is like, how did this person get this thing made? And then there's always that one thing. It's like, oh, he has a famous person in his family.
Yeah. Well, it always makes it easier. It's like, oh, they met at a potluck and they decided to make a, indie movie together.
Yeah.
But also sometimes, famous celebrities, they just like, they're still down to party on like indie shit if it's worth doing. I'm sure he got paid peanuts.
Oh, I bet. Anyway, I didn't have too many other facts about Minari. The only other thing is, have you ever seen the anime called Your Name?
No, what is that?
It's like a anime about it's a body switching movie actually.
Oh,
about a boy and a girl who switch their bodies, I guess, for a day, and they kind of see how the other one lives. It was a big hit in Japan and in America, relatively speaking. Anyway, Lee Isaac Chung is making a live action adaptation of it.
Oh shit, that's cool.
Yeah, that's it.
With like Netflix or somebody?
Oh, I assume.
Probably one of the expensive places.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
And then that's all I got about Minari. I mean, there's a lot to be said about it, but that's kind of like the Cole's Notes version.
Yeah, that's great. I loved it. It was so much fun to watch. It was a great movie. And it was like funny and touching. It really like did all the things that a good indie movie is supposed to do.
Yeah, great acting. Looked good. Great camera work.
Yeah. Everything about it. The score was really nice. As another similarity I wrote down was that both have like oddly sort of nice scores. I kind of dug the Milky Life score. I was like, ooh, this is just like slow and tender. They both have slow and tender scores,
Okay. There was another similarity is a actor from the movie sings a song in the film.
Oh, shit.
Because in Minari, the end credit song is sung by Han Yi-ri, the mom.
Yeah.
And then the nanny character in The Milky Life sings this like opera song in the middle of the movie. Multiple times.
He's like hallucinating at the end and then she like shows up again. No, man.
But like floating on a giant clamshell.
Yes. Like Venus.
Yeah,
right?
like Venus.
Yeah. Man, what a movie, eh?
Yeah.
Masterpiece.
And he's a baby.
I wonder, like, it's fascinating to watch a movie and have a third of the frame occupied by a black rectangle. I wonder if the viewing experience would actually be different if we could see the whole dang frame.
I don't know. And we're also watching it in glorious 360p with VHS degradation on it as well.
Multiple times, like the registration would go out and you get like the snowflake, like horizontal bars as it was misaligned from the tape.
Yeah.
I love that. It was so fun. It brought me back to my youth.
Yeah.
Putting in a tape in the first like 8 minutes are unwatchable and then it just fixes itself.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
You were watching it the way it was meant to be seen.
Yeah.
Ripped from a VHS onto YouTube on your phone, I assume, on the toilet.
Yeah, all of the above is true. That's how I watched it. I sat on the toilet for an hour and 17 minutes. Just watching this movie.
You could have wore diapers and kind of like really got into the character, got into the story, Let's move on.
Okay. The Milky Life, La Vida Lactea, released in 1992, directed by Juan Estelrich Rovez, He goes by a few different iterations of his name on the internet, and I don't know why. He's kind of hard to track down. Also, he just doesn't really exist on the internet. This was his first film. He directed 3 feature films.
Right.
One, The Milky Life, and then another one the following year, and then he made one almost 20 years later, which is kind of wild.
What? Really? That would have been like a couple years ago. What's it called?
Yeah, he had a film come out in 2016. Bombay Goa Express. A renowned writer and a woman are in the same compartment on a train from Bombay to Goa, but she is afraid to read his latest novel in his presence, an awkward situation expressed in monologues until a conversation provides a dramatic twist. It's an hour and 36 minutes. It looks fine.
I guess.
Oh, in Spain was only released in 4 theaters. What the? I think it had a super weird release. You might not be able to find it.
I doubt it. Yeah. I mean, The Milky Life is easy to find and hard to find at the same time.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? This guy's career is really perplexing. Actually, no, it's not. I think he basically just makes his living as an assistant director, but then he was able to direct a few projects. But he worked on Empire in the Sun and Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade because they were both, they had units in Spain.
Oh,
so
cool.
like when movies come to Spain, he's the 3rd assistant director. So that's kind of cool. I guess that's probably how he pays the bills.
Yeah. Well, we also talked about, maybe before we recorded, also talked about how he's married to like a famous actress in Spain.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Who works?
I'm sure she's the one paying all the bills. What's her name again?
And she's in The Milky Life. Emma Suarez.
That's right. And she's like a super famous Spanish actor.
Yeah.
Another sort of famous lady I want to talk about is Marion Sagebrecht. She plays Aloha.
Yes.
Mickey Rooney's love interest, also wet nurse, also prostitute. And she is interesting. So she just did like a bunch of like Joe jobs early on, like when she was like in her early 20s, and then she found theater and performance art. And this is in quotes. She's known as the mother of Munich's subculture.
Right.
For her avant-garde theater and performance art. So when I read that, it made me think that maybe this film was looked at as sort of this avant-garde thing, and she was like, oh yeah, that's like super edgy and cool. But it was also just like a disingenuous comedy.
Yeah.
Like it just nothing worked. But I'm sure she went into it thinking like, oh, this is like high art. Like this is going to be fucked up and cool. You know?
A question I have after thinking about this movie a little bit.
Yes.
Is it bad? Like it's weird and it's strange and it's obscure. It's all of these things.
I don't think it's poorly made. Like it sort of has like a nice pacing. I thought the ending was like, I mean, there's some wild shit in it that's stupid.
Yeah.
But overall, I was kind of into it. Like when he's just like wandering into the ocean, and then they're like, "Where's the baby?" And then they run, and all you see is his like behind in a diaper floating in the water, and his head's like under the dock. I was like, "Damn, is this a good piece of cinema right now?"
I don't know.
This like little moment.
I don't
know either, but there were moments when I thought like this is good in the sort of like objective sense, but then when you look at it and have feelings about it, you just feel really dirty and gross and you hate that it exists.
Yeah.
But the drama and stuff is like good.
Yeah, I guess. But also his justification for wanting to be a baby makes no sense at all. He just is like, oh, I want to live this life because it's tough, paying for everybody. He didn't have to be a baby. He could have just cut everybody off.
But why does the guy want to be a fucking farmer in Minari? Like, what is his reason really good?
Well, he says says it's like he's growing money, right? So it just seems like it's a way to make money,
Yeah, but why is money a more valid reason for character motivation than the want to live carefree and also like enjoy youth again?
Well, are they not connected though? Because he's a billionaire, so he has the privilege of being able to live carefree if he wants. And also, in both movies, here's a similarity. They're like dramas about where people are just fighting about money the whole time.
That's true. That's
and his
true.
whole family is being torn apart because they got cut off from his money. He doesn't have to be a baby. He can be like, I'm just cutting you guys off from my money. I'm sick of all this. And then live life as a normal adult instead of being like, you know what? On top of this cutting people off from the money, I'm also going to wear a diaper. I'm going to breastfeed. I'm going to sometimes sit on the toilet and sometimes wear a diaper.
Not all the time.
Yeah. And so
I'm really nervous because you're really showing your true colors right now. And I'm really nervous for the day when I want to be a baby. And I'm going to be really scared to tell you because I know you're going to judge me.
Yeah, I probably will.
You son of a bitch. Anyways.
Have you ever watched those videos? There's so many YouTube videos about people like, I'm a baby. I'm an adult baby. You ever watch those videos?
No, I don't know what that is. How do you know all this stuff?
I go on little rabbit holes down YouTube.
You're like, you know all the sort of dark, sordid corners of the internet.
Well, it's a big place.
It's a big place.
It's a big place. There's a lot of fun corners to explore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But also, that's not like an obscure corner. That's been on the news now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's been news articles about this adult person wants to be a baby.
Is a baby. Okay,
like the clips that I saw were on YouTube and they were from like a reality show, kind of like My Strange Addiction, but like My Strange Lifestyle or whatever the hell.
And
it's just like, I'm a friggin' adult, but I want to have a crib and I want someone to like change my diaper or whatever. And I need a roommate and the roommate has to deal with it. Like that's what the reality show is.
Oh, I hate that. What if I just stood up and I was wearing a diaper?
I would say that explains why the podcast sounds so honest, I knew that there's something was up.
No, that just feels like, people who just want to not be like live with the pressure of life. Like life, there's just pressures.
Yeah.
And these adults are like, fuck that. I'm bowing out.
And
they're just going to just dip out.
I think that's fairly normalized in different ways. I think people who go really, really hard into specific like fandoms or identities, based around pop culture or, video games or whatever. It's like, oh, I'm a gamer, so I live this gamer lifestyle. Basically, I just live the extreme version of the life I lived when I was 13 because that was an era where this particular thing brought me happiness. So I don't know. I feel like that kind of manifests itself in different ways nowadays.
Yeah. Interesting.
And it's not always just someone wearing a diaper.
Not always, but often. Okay, so there's no information on the internet. It's shocking. This movie doesn't have a Wikipedia page. The IMDb page has almost no information, just the cast list.
And even on the Wikipedia page for the person who's married to the director, it's not listed on her thing.
There's nothing.
There's nothing about her marriage also.
No, there's a bunch of details about many of the people involved in this film that just, it doesn't exist.
It's not on Mickey Rooney's page either.
No, it's like they all got together and paid somebody to erase this whole experience in film from the internet and from history.
That's kind of beautiful.
It is. So I'm gonna have to talk about Mickey Rooney a little bit because there's like nothing to talk about with this goddamn movie, which is a bummer. I think somebody should like endeavor to make a documentary about it and try to interview all the surviving people and go back to the locations because it's so perplexing. Like I want to know why the film was made.
Yeah, why Mickey Rooney?
Yeah, like just why everything. What was the impetus of this project? And why would you want this to be your debut film? La Vida Lactea.
Why don't you just hypothesize? Why don't you just make up the facts about this movie?
I think so. The director is an AD on like other people's movies, and he's just like seeing people just like make corporate garbage, aka Indiana Jones: Last Crusade.
Right.
Okay. That's like a popcorn movie, and he's like, oh fuck this! Like, am I just a sellout? Like, I'm not even making art; I'm servicing other people's art. And then like this project, I don't even know if he wrote it. I don't think he did. Somebody else did. That's so embarrassing. I should know who wrote this movie. He did write it.
Oh, he did?
Oh, yeah. He wrote it with Christopher Doherty.
Oh, interesting.
Is a writer and actor known for The Name of the Rose, The Milky Life, The Crime of Love. That's it. Wow, what the hell? He wrote 6 things. 1979 to 1994. He did not work a lot. Anyway, so he wrote it, but I'm sure it was like just out of frustration they wrote this movie. And then they made one of the most horrifying films I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. It's just so shocking that this film doesn't really exist on the internet. I want to know why.
It's a real puzzle. I mean, it exists on the internet and that we watched it there, but only because someone graciously put it there.
Well, I'm sure there are like coveted VHS copies like floating around eBay and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Right. There's always just that like sort of subculture of people who want to own beta tapes of these super obscure films and stuff, right?
I mean,
but I wonder if somebody has a 35 mil print of this movie.
Somebody does somewhere.
But do they?
I assume so.
I don't know. It would be tragic if they didn't, but who knows?
I guess sometimes, yeah, movies kind of get lost forever.
When Nosferatu almost bit the dust.
Yeah. Yeah, when some of those masters get destroyed.
But let's talk about Mickey Rooney. He was born in 1920, died in 2014. So it's crazy. He lived for another 20 years after making this movie.
I know. Yeah, I know.
He had to live in the shadow of the Milky Life for like 20 years.
Amazing.
Truly astonishing. He died at 93 years old. His real name is Ninian Joseph Ewell Jr.
Ninian?
Isn't that great? Ninian.
Wild.
He was born in Brooklyn. Both parents were performers, and they split when he was 4, and his mom moved to Hollywood with him, and she basically started just like making him work to pay for everything. So he was a child star, which is another thing I was thinking about. The sort of thing that happens with some child stars is like they start so young and like a gig's just a gig.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't even think about the content itself. So even if he's in his like early 70s is making La Vida Lactea, he's like whatever, it's a paycheck. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that when I was watching Minari, the little kid who plays David.
Yeah.
Like that kid's just a little child actor. Like he did a good job, but also, what's he think about all this?
He might not think anything.
Yeah, he might just be like, "What am I doing? I'm just playing." Okay, and then like at the end of the shoot, he's just like, "Hey guys, just want to say thanks for playing with me today." You know?
Oh, you rat bastard!
But yeah, he might just think he's playing, and having fun and stuff, and then might not think about it. But then his parents are just putting him through the grind.
Yeah. I wonder if it was like a stressful movie to make for those kids, or if they just had a great time drinking mountain water.
Oh, Mountain Dew,
great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Their grandma was so cute. So Mickey Rooney's first starring role was as Mickey McGuire in several short films, and then his huge claim to fame came with the Andy Hardy films. It was like a huge franchise, and he played not Andy Hardy but someone else in those films, I think.
And he was a child this whole time?
Yeah, basically. Pretty much. And then at 19, he was nominated for an Oscar.
For what movie?
He's the second youngest guy to win. Well, at the time. After, I think, Shirley Temple.
Right.
Babes in Arms, I think.
Was it the Academy Juvenile Award?
Is that a thing?
I guess it was.
Yeah, he was in The Black Stallion.
In the movie of it.
Yeah, the movie.
But then he was also on the TV show.
Crazy. But he's nominated for a lot of Oscars, which is crazy because he's made some really dicey acting decisions.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about one of them today.
Yeah. I mean, amen to that. Yeah, interesting. Okay, anyways. So his life was kind of like he just worked until he died, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
During World War II, for 2 years, the last 2 years of the Second World War, he entertained the troops. He was married 8 times, has 9 kids, 2 stepkids, and 19 grandchildren. And he was married to Ava Gardner for 2 years. Isn't that crazy?
That is kind of nuts, yeah.
Yeah. He's not handsome.
He's a bit of a like small troll of a man, yeah.
Yeah, he's got like a really weird face.
Yeah.
Not to be a dick, but he's not a good-looking guy. He's a fun-looking guy.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that he's a celebrity because he's like a character actor kind of thing. I mean, maybe he was handsome in his as an old man. He's like he's a friggin' round, kind of decaying prune. May he rest in peace. But then,
no, he was not handsome like in the 40s and stuff. Like he was not really a good-looking guy. He's just kind of goofy.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks like he had a lot of talent. Like he could dance and.
He could dance, he could sing, he could talk.
Yeah, he also was one of the few kind of actors from the silent era who is kind of still working into the 21st century.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So good for him.
He did it.
He was the top box office draw from 1939 to 1941, spanning
2 decades.
That's a great joke.
Man, that joke's funny.
Mickey Rooney!
Hi, Millhouse. The studio sent me to talk to you, being a former child star myself and the #1 box office draw from 1939 through 1940.
Wow, spanning 2 decades.
Did you know that MickeyRooney.com exists?
No, what is that?
It's his official website.
Oh boy, his posthumous website?
Yeah, there's nothing about Vida, Lactea for some reason. Around the 90s, it talks about how he was on a show. Yeah, basically he was on The Adventures of the Black Stallion from 1990 to 1993. Maybe we should have a side podcast. It's all about us just trying to learn about this film, and it's kind of one of those investigative podcasts, kind of like Serial.
That's cool. Yeah, and like every 10 episodes, or like every of our normal episodes, we could just like have a mini-sode and be like, this is the progress we've made so far. Bob cold called all surviving members of the film, and no one answered the phone.
Yeah, Bob learned Spanish to
to talk to all these people. It'd be so funny if no one spoke Spanish, like in the crew or cast, and then they just dubbed it in Spanish arbitrarily.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is funny that he spoke English, then they dubbed it in Spanish, and then we watched it with subtitles dubbed back to English.
It's kind of like writing a screenplay in English, getting it translated to Korean, and then having it subtitled for English-speaking audiences. It's the same shit.
Similarity right there. Wow.
Oh my God.
The same movies.
The same goddamn film.
Yeah, let's go through the similarities corner or whatever the hell we called it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a nook.
It's a nook, right.
Yeah, similarity nook. Although, I'm not going to lie, I gave away a lot of mine out of the gate.
I also don't have a lot. I mean, and this episode's already kind of approaching a full episode length already, so we've gotten...
Full epi.
We really got into... I mean, that's just what happens when you live the Milky Life, which we do.
You got to go in the direction. You follow the stream of the milk. You know what I mean?
You gotta.
You don't want to go against the current of the lactation. I guess another joke I've been wanting to say is that this is lactation exploitation.
Yes. Oh, very good. Lactation exploitation.
Early 90s, sort of coinciding with dino exploitation is lactation exploitation.
Yeah.
There's also something else I wanted to say. I was going to say it's like if the director of Salo, 120 Days of Sodom, and somebody else made a movie together, that would be this film. Mm-hmm. But I can't remember the other director.
Wes Anderson.
No, not quite, but sort of.
You know when somebody... Okay, I've got a brilliant idea here.
Oh my God,
it's one of those ideas that's so good that I should do it in real life, but I'm just going to throw it away on the podcast. You know those YouTube videos that people release every couple of years where someone thinks it's so clever to take something in pop culture and then be like, what if Wes Anderson directed this? Like, there was a thing a couple of years ago that was really going around where it's like, what if X-Men was directed by Wes Anderson?
That's right. That's right.
Whatever. And it's like, haha, very funny. Like he has a visual style. That's the joke. What if somebody made Salo, 120 Days of Sodom, in the style of Wes Anderson? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, man.
Someone should be daring to do that. Like, that's the only one of those bits where it's like, yeah, this makes sense. Because just taking like, the Super Mario Brothers, if they were directed by Wes Anderson, is like, why? What's the connection?
Totally.
But
that's great. I love that, Mike.
Sallow is so depraved. Wes would never touch it. That's the joke.
Exactly. Oh, I love that.
All right, well, let's get to work. Let's get to work on this.
Oh, yeah.
You're in charge of the chocolate pudding.
We got to bring home the bacon, don't we?
We do.
Soy bacon for you. You're a vegetarian.
But the thing is, that movie is not famous enough that it would never go viral.
Sallow, 120 Days of Sodom is
I don't think it's
famous.
I don't think it's famous enough to go like internet viral.
What?
I don't think so.
You're crazy. Maybe not. Fuck,
like
man. I don't know.
X-Men directed by Wes Anderson. That makes sense because it's like, hey, we all know what the X-Men is. Two famous things, but not enough. Yeah, like the Criterion crowd would love it, I guess, because they like both of those things.
And there's a lot of Criterion people.
Yeah, too many, I would say.
Too damn many. Yeah. Okay. Enough diddle-daddling. Let's get into similarities, okay?
Yeah.
Both films depict like a precocious child.
Yes.
Okay. So I would say that the older sister is quite precocious in Minari. And Mickey Rooney, he's a grown-ass man, but he's playing a baby. That's a precocious baby. That baby is trading stocks at one point.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, so precocious.
You can't fully give it up. He's got to still be a billionaire.
And he buys 2,000 shares of whatever for his
cartel
baby.
Stock?
For his grandson. I was like, what a odd scene.
Both movies feature young and old people coming to understand each other. Because in Minari, the plot between the child and his grandma, they hate each other at first, and then they love each other at the end. And then in, the Milky Life, La Vida, Lactea. I mean, he understands the baby in that he wants to emulate the baby at the beginning, but at the end, he learns to speak baby-ese, I guess. And then the baby tells him that it's like, oh, it's not so good. This Milky Life of mine. I want to be back in the womb.
I thought there was going to be a scene with Mickey Rooney going into.
I honestly thought that too.
Like a dream sequence where he's just like floating around.
It was strange.
All old and naked.
I mean, it was strange when he was talking to the baby and the baby was saying it. It's like, nah, man, my life sucks. I want to be back in the womb. And it kept cutting back to a baby being born, and you could see like a baby coming out.
That's right. That's right. I forgot about that shot.
Yeah, in the movie.
Yeah, that's right.
So, this movie also, there's swear words. So it's like, I thought it was going to be a kid's film, but then it's very adult film. Like there's nudity, there's like a there's like breastfeeding in the film, which isn't necessarily like a mature thing to see because it's natural. We've all done it, but it's also you don't see it in movies ever, I guess.
No, you don't, and it's how this movie did it. You can do it, and it's like, oh yeah, that's great, but it's how this film does it that you're like, wow, this is raunchy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, when he first meets her, he squeezes the nip, and some milk comes out, which was like, I was like, oh, that's surprising, and then it cuts to him just like Mickey Rooney, one of the greatest actors who ever lived, supposedly.
323 screen credits to his name.
Yeah.
Licking a titty, basically. Crazy. And he's in his 70s.
I wonder, who knows? I wonder what he was thinking. Was he just like, who cares? This is fun. Or was he like, I need the money?
Maybe he's just like horny and he's like, this is great. Like,
yeah, maybe.
I'm into this. Like, maybe he's a little pervert. Who knows?
Yeah.
Both movies have characters speaking a language that others in the room can't understand.
Yes.
So it's baby talk or it's Korean.
That's good, yeah. Both movies feature characters pissing themselves at some point.
That's right. The
little kid in Minari pisses himself in bed, and then
so that kid is such a little shit.
Yeah,
little brat. Hey.
Yeah. You don't see Mickey Rooney, wet his diapers, but he's wearing diapers throughout the film, so you assume he's just going in his diapers whenever he wants.
Shitting, pissing, the whole shebang.
And then another similarity is that both movies feature characters drinking bodily fluids.
So that's right. That's right. Because grandma eats or drinks some pee-pee.
Grandma drinks pee-pee thinking it's Mountain Dew, spoiler alert. And
mountain water.
And Mickey Rooney drinks breast milk.
And they both love it.
Grandma doesn't love it.
Grandma really doesn't like it.
Well, she was not that fazed by it. She was like, I thought it was funny. Because it was a prank.
She's like a trooper. I was like, this grandma's a badass. Like, she's funny. She's just like kind of down to like fuck around and
watch wrestling all day.
Yeah. She's like, look at their muscles. This is amazing. It's like, yeah, that's fucking cool. Nice, grandma. Both films have people in debt.
Yeah, so that's true.
The family's in debt because the dad keeps getting money from the bank, and the son with the weird hairline is in debt and keeps going to the butler for money. Crazy. I thought that was a fun trope. I was like, that's funny. That like inverts or subverts like a lot of sort of the normal sort of tropes of like broke rich people.
Yeah,
it's funny when the butler is the one lending the money. It's like, oh shit. Who's this guy?
It is interesting that there are people who are rich, but as soon as they're like cut off, they have no skills. And so like they are kind of worse off than someone who is poor.
Broke, but well, teach a man to fish and he'll eat a lot of fish. Give a man a fish and he'll only eat it once, you know? That classic saying.
Yeah, that classic saying. It was beautifully well spoken.
Eloquent, Bob. Very eloquent.
Both movies feature characters starting a new life.
Oh, shit.
Because it's about Korean immigrants to America, and then about Mickey Rooney, an old man, deciding to be a baby again.
Yeah.
So, like literally a new life.
Both films are just drenched in capitalism.
Yes,
for better and for worse. And the narrative is basically just like inspired by capitalism.
Yeah. It's like, we need money.
Or I don't want money anymore.
Yeah. In both films, a love relationship falls apart. Because Mickey Rooney and the nurse, they fall in love with each other inexplicably.
Yeah.
Although maybe that was what it was all about. Her name was Aloha.
Fun. I was confused at first. I was like, wow, they're saying aloha a lot, but it's not Hawaii, it's Spain. Anyways. Yeah.
So that relationship falls apart because her boyfriend, who comes to visit for the holidays, who is a pimp, they say. He comes and kind of puts a wedge in between her and Mickey Rooney, and the three of them share a bed.
That's right. And they all spoon. The baby's in the middle. Crazy.
Yeah. And the baby's in the middle. Like the pimp guy is like fine with the baby being in the bed and being in the middle. Like he doesn't put up much of a fight.
No, he's a real, cuck, as it were.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes to show how much power you have when you have money, that you can be like, create situations like that.
Yeah, and everyone just kind of goes along with it.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to be a baby, very disturbing. And I'm going to sleep in between this couple, and they're going to put up with it because I'm so rich.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I love it.
So weird. Both films depict parsnips burning in a wooden shed in the middle of the night caused by a grandma. Just kidding. That was a fake one. That's a fake one.
That's a good fake one. Well, I have something similar to that.
Oh.
Both feature things destroyed. Wait, hold on. Both feature things that kind of give money to a family destroyed by the elements.
Oh,
because the barn burns down and all the vegetables and fruit and stuff that they were growing burns down because the grandma, she effed up, man.
Man, did she F up?
Yeah, she burned.
What are you doing, Grandma? Jeez.
But also, I lived through the 80s. The decade in which this movie was set. I lived in a small rural town in, rural Alberta in the 80s, and we would burn our garbage in a thing in the back.
Oh, yeah. Always.
And that was so normal.
Super common.
That was so normal. Whereas now I'm like, that's insane that anybody did that.
That scene when the daughter puts it in and starts exploding because there's glass in there and stuff. I was like, oh, so dangerous.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And so anyway, that barn burns down with all of their vegetables that give them the money. And then in the Milky Life, La Vida, Lactea, Mickey Rooney's character drowns. He's destroyed by the ocean.
Well, let me jump on top of that.
Go for it.
Let's play a little bit here, okay?
Yeah, I love to play. Thanks for playing.
Both films have little boys getting hurt. Okay, so the son gets the drawer falls on his foot, it bleeds. He's fine. It doesn't matter. But and then the little boy in La Vida Lactea is Mickey Rooney drowning in the fucking ocean. He is sort of a little boy.
He gets hurt in the cosmic sense.
Well, and his cells regenerate. A tooth appears.
That was nasty.
He
started
I was like,
teething
this
and
is
having
body
baby
horror.
teeth. Yeah, it is kind of body horror a little bit.
I was like, if Cronenberg is up in this shit.
Yeah, it kind of is body horror. I really didn't know what I was getting into when I started watching The Milky Life.
I didn't either. I might need to go to therapy, honestly. Once or twice.
I thought you were going to say you were going to watch it again. I might need to watch it again.
No, I'd rather die than watch it again. But I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah.
It was like a new frontier of just insanity.
Yeah. I'm glad
I enjoyed myself.
I'm glad I watched both of these movies. Yeah, Minari I've never seen before. It was a great little movie.
Yeah.
Great just languid storytelling.
Yeah, really, really languid.
So languid.
The titular languid.
And The Milky Life, just insane. I'm glad I saw it, even though it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
But what are your thoughts on both films? Like, let's do some quick reviews.
I think Minari, honestly, 5 out of 5 milk bones. Great fucking movie. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
I think La Vida Lactea is 2 milk bones out of 5. Originally, it was half a milk bone.
Yeah.
Now it's 2. Shout out to our sponsor, Milk Bones.
Of course.
They don't actually sponsor us. Frick.
But don't forget to use the promo code from Justin and Kane at milkbones.com. See what happens.
That's right.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Probably nothing.
I hope we get a cease and desist order from them.
They're like, so many people are trying to use this promo code that doesn't exist. What is going on? They look us up. Then they listen to our episodes, and then litigation begins.
I was like, this could go in 2 ways. We're getting sued, or they're like super into it and they give us money.
I hope that they give us money. Please, Milkbone, give us the money. So,
Please.
Continue.
Oh, and then, I'd say 2 out of 5 milk bones. The Milky Way, there are things in it that are so... The issue is I can't articulate why I hate it and why I like it simultaneously.
Yes.
But the film is just this like weird, perfect balance of absurdity and like poetic filmmaking that I just kind of like it. I just ate it up. Just
it was
gobbled it up like a milk
surprisingly
bone.
thoughtful for a movie about a billionaire who just wants to be a baby. And you think if it was made by an American, like in Hollywood, it would just be kind of a dumb straight to video comedy that was like forgettable.
Yeah.
But there was something weirdly dramatic and kind of cosmic about this movie.
Yeah. What are your reviews?
I kind of agree with you on both. Minari, I'd give 5 milk bones.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was great. Love the music, the acting. The cinematography was beautiful, just like all the themes and whatnot. It's a very watchable film.
Yeah.
And then, The Milky Life. I mean, I'd give it a 1 star. I think it still was a hard watch, kind of bad. I just hate a lot of the elements of the film. Like, I don't like when adults play babies or adults play children.
No, that's particularly upsetting for you.
Yeah, it's very upsetting to me, and I think that they never do it right. It acts like they're just kind of acting like they think children are idiots.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I never believe it, I guess. Not even like multiple Academy Award winner Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rooney.
He couldn't even pull it off. I didn't believe that he was a baby at any point.
Neither did I, even when they said his cells are regenerating and he's got a baby tooth. I was like, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
He's still just kind of a gross old man.
He's just kind of a gross old man acting like an idiot in a diaper.
Yeah.
So I'd give it a 1 star.
Yeah, it is a hot flaming pile of shit. It's a bad fucking movie. That's undeniable. Okay, I'm being bizarrely generous. I don't know why. Well, this feels over.
It feels over for sure. Yeah, I mean, we this is a good length of episode. We never said the Milk Boney Life.
Let's start over. Let's re-record.
Okay, we gotta start re-recording. Hey, everybody, welcome to From Justin to Kane. We're talking about the
Milk Boney Life.
Milk Boney Life. Would you say it was the imagery in La Vida Lactea was worse? Was it worse than Salo, 120 Days of Sodom?
I think they were like similar. almost.
Yeah, there's like
there was a lot of overlap. I was like, this feels like Solo.
But what is so strange about it? Because it's like breastfeeding is very normal. It's
because he's in his 70s and he's like, baby want milky.
Yeah,
that's why.
Well, yeah, there's this kind of perverted element to it that they never really explore, but it is like ever present.
Here's what it is.
The woman.
He has sex with the woman he's breastfeeding with.
He does have sex. That's right.
So it's just like, it's so fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it is just this like bizarrely pornographic film, and he gropes her, breastfeeds from her, and then they have sex.
Yeah. But they're both into this part of the relationship.
Exactly. And she's down to clown the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
And they fall in love.
And it's beautiful.
It is really, really beautiful. Yes. Fuck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for listening. Follow us on social media from Justin to Kane with a number 2, and email us from justin2kane@gmail.com. All of those are words. And that's the movie.
That's
podcast.
all she wrote. Now go out there, get your dog dish on the ground, get your owner to pour a big helping of 3.25% milk, and just lap that shit up. Because you know what? You deserve the Milky Life too.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay, bye everybody. Bye.
Arrivederci.